I want us to approach our last topic within the remaining 10 minutes or so, and that is on the question of, we're still here, Honorable Kenan, the question of floods in the country. The President last week made an announcement on what affects the education sector. Watch.
The Ministry of Education is directed to postpone the dates of reopening of all schools in the country for the second term until further notice. Members of Parliament are requested to reorganize the CDF allocations to prioritize reconstruction of school infrastructure that has been damaged as a result of the floods ravaging the country. As the national government plays its role in dealing with the current situation, I request and urge county governments, development partners, and private sector to join in these efforts and provide support as, where, and when they can.
All right, that was the President announcing that the planned reopening for today has been postponed further, now indefinitely actually. A lot of activities have been taking place during the days after Thursday last week, including demolitions and people being evacuated, especially those living next to riverbanks. We'll be looking at some of those pictures as we continue the conversation. But Mheshimiwa Elachi, especially looking in the situation in Nairobi and the response that you've seen, I don't know what your comment is, even as you reflect on the state of the education sector.
Well, at the moment, I know all areas within Nairobi, starting from Dagoretti North. It's only that in Dagoretti North, people were able just to stay with the others, neighbors, taking each other. And that's why we don't have a camp, but we have more than 1,000 people who I know will need support of mattresses and blankets. The little we are giving, I doubt whether it's enough. But going down to Mathare, to Ruaraka, Kasarani, Embakasi East, Embakasi Central, all the Embakasis, and then you find Embakasi South, I think people are really hurting on those sides. And yes, as he says, I agree, we remove people from the river. What I know we have not accounted for some, and it's very sad, is how many people we have lost in this Nairobi, especially the ones in Mathare. To be honest, we have not accounted for those people because it was at night when everyone woke up, the water was on top of their roofs. So I believe children were swept away, but until everything comes down, because people are just... And then we have those who are now in our morgues. I want to thank the Deputy President. He had agreed to take a few of the families home. Mm-hmm. And I think we are planning with his office to do that. But we need to start planning how also the bodies, they have stayed for a while now. I haven't seen anyone, because even the relatives, where do they sit to start even doing this planning? They are in different camps. It's very difficult. So what the government should assist us first is to see how many bodies we have in all the morgues and let those bodies now start going to their respective homes for burial. That will also assist.
So you don't think the figure the government has provided, the national figure of 228, you don't think it's accurate?
No, the one for 228 can be accurate in terms of Mai Mahiu and this. I'm just saying Mathare and across the Nairobi River as we go down. The night we were hit in Mathare, I doubt we are able for now, until people really come out to say, I am now missing, and I'm hoping at the chief camps, that is what people are now doing. Okay. Because it was a very extraordinary water, and many of them were submerged in their own houses. So maybe they are still in the houses, or maybe they were swept away with the houses. We just need to get the right figure and get to know.
And for Mheshimiwa Kenan, so action being taken, there was a warning that people would be mandatorily evacuated if they don't vacate by their own choice. Then on Friday, we saw some images of even people saying that they were not even given an opportunity to pick what is left of theirs in the houses. Then also the establishment of camps across different counties. How do you rate that response, but also the sensitivity of it?
Yeah, first of all, we must appreciate that this is a natural disaster affecting the entire globe. I was watching a story last night in Brazil where a whole town actually was flooded. It's not a Kenyan issue. These are the effects of global warming, climate change. What we did, and this is a reality right now, it's something that's affecting the whole. You saw what happened the other day in the Emirates, Dubai. It was unprecedented, and Oman and many other Gulf states. This being now the reality. What I think we need to do right now is to map up and prepare all our contingency plans and put in place a multi-agency oriented contingency plan that will be ready round the clock, because this is unpredictable. It's all over. So what we need to do right now is...
what do you mean is unpredictable?
It's unpredictable because you see sometimes the way the weather pattern has been, like now, we expected this phenomenon along the Kenya-Tanzania coastlines. And we are told suddenly, because of what happened in one of the islands off Dar es Salaam, the course of that particular tide has changed. So where has it changed? And where will it go next? It's unpredictable. It may go to Zimbabwe, what is it called? Mozambique coastline, it may go. So that's why I'm saying it's unpredictable. Even what happened in Dubai was unpredictable.
But the heavy rains is not entirely unexpected. There had been warnings.
This is why I'm saying this. What do we need to do as a result of this reality? Of the effects of climate change? I think we need to come up with a robust, legally sound contingency measures that brings together all these different agencies under one platform that will be ready every time when these warnings are given. Like, what am I talking about? Right now, the military has been asked to engage this. We have the Red Cross, we have the Ministry of ASAL, we have the Ministry of Roads, we have many other ministries. I think there is a program, I also read something in the UK, when they were faced with similar challenges, they came up with a multi-agency entity that is ready, that is funded, that is ever prepared in almost every major town. That is what we need to do. Secondly, I think we also need to educate Kenyans that this is a reality, that once a warning has been given and the weathermen have predicted, ordinarily I never used to believe in the predictions of the weathermen, but right now there's a bit of sense in what they say because of science, because science now is a bit more...
so why do you never believe in them?
That is me, because whatever you used to say used to be 80%, 40%, 50% accurate. But right now, like, they predict with precision. And because of science, God has been kind, actually, to humankind by allowing us now to use science properly. So that being the case right now, what do we need to do? If there are legislative pitfalls, I think we need to harmonize the laws. We need to look at the laws governing this emergency response measures. That's the first step. The second step is we need to properly fund the meteorological department so that they can be more accurate in their predictions and their information. Equally, we need to now go back to the drawing board in the light of this to look at our infrastructural plans and development. Infrastructural plans, because like now, take for example, the road from Mwingi to Garissa is completely cut off. Part of that area is a marshy area. Part of it is also along the banks of River Tana. The road that was meant for that particular area and what right now, the road that can cope with these new floods are completely different. So where we envisage a bridge just along River Tana is now completely different because now we have to deal now with a marshy area between Modogo and Garissa. And this is now the new area actually, which was the other day where unfortunately so many Kenyans actually lost their lives. That's the second bit. The third bit is now proper communication, now proper dissemination of information to the public. And the response, the government agency, coordinated response. We do not want where one agency says this today, the next day the other agency says this. And that is the other bit. The other bit is, do we have a cogent post-flood program? Because like right now, people have been told to move out of this. They have moved out of their settlements. They are somewhere. They are internally displaced persons. Do we have a plan now to resettle them? And will that plan have a long-term solution to if their particular area is flood-prone. So these are things that now we need to look at, we need to take into account, and all these now will require three things: legal, properly, legally sound arrangement, financial support, proper infrastructural planning, public preparedness and participation. If we put all this, I can bet even the next phase of roads that we'll have are roads that will be tailor-made for these unexpected floods. And that is the route that we should take. Okay. But equally, I also want to appeal to Kenyans, because it's just not fair just to sit somewhere and criticize that the government is going to do. The government, it's you are the government. So if you have, unfortunately, you have a home or you are settled in a flood-prone areas, take the earliest mitigation measures to protect your lives and property. Move out of that flood-prone area. Don't wait for the government or the chief or the DC or the DO to tell you move out of it. It's about your life. It's about your safety. It's about your protection. Because this thing now we are told in the next few days, the floods will be on. It has been raining. Look at it. If the warning has been given, I saw yesterday one of the deputy county commissioners going around asking people, you must, no. We want to appeal to the Kenyan public. These are reality.
I think, Mheshimiwa Kenan, I think one of the areas, and whatever you're saying makes a lot of sense, but what people have been struggling with is, so there's some warning that has come from the weatherman. It is sent to different government agencies. It is not sent direct to the Kenyan. The government agencies are not interpreting that message to the people in a manner that they can understand. But secondly, even if they are told that they need to move to higher grounds, nobody is telling them in a coordinated manner that this is the potential of an area that can move, because in those hilly areas, some of the areas they are at risk of mudslides. So what is the higher ground that is safe? That communication is not coming in.
But I think this is what we are trying to say. That's why I say that there's need to coordinate. There's need to have the flow of information, the response. That needs to be properly coordinated. I 100% agree with you. But equally, it's incumbent upon the individual Kenya member of the public to realize that once they sense these dangers, you should not wait for somebody to force you. Go to the next area where you feel is safe. But I also agree that the way this information is disseminated, actually, you know, the weathermen, what they do, they post. Honestly, let's also not underrate the intelligence of Kenyans are well-informed people. Well informed. Once the weatherman posts actually the weather prediction, it's all over. It's on Facebook, it's on the internet, it's all over. But I think from a government perspective, and I don't speak for the government, from a government perspective, it is good to coordinate this so that once this is done, it's properly coordinated by the relevant CS, by the relevant PS, by the relevant prestatal, by the relevant agencies, so this information is all over. Of course, there are some areas that don't have proper access to internet. There are some areas that don't get access to this media, that newspapers that you see. So to that extent, I also agree with you.
All right, Mheshimiwa, I think we will need to assess how many Kenyans are able to receive and understand the communication from the Kenya Meteorological Department. But nevertheless, Mheshimiwa Koech, let's tie this up because it's not just destroying the roads and homes and everything. It's also affecting how the social lives are running. For instance, the children are in school for another extra week that they should have gone to school. What do you think needs to be done so that, as he says, post-flood planning, or is this that we need to do to be in a position to carry on with what is required to be done?
This calamity has given us, actually is put to test our infrastructure. And you've seen livelihoods, and like you say rightly, lives and livelihoods have been hugely affected. It's important then, going forward, planning is one of our biggest issues at the moment, especially on drainage. Yep. Why people are being swept away. You know, people are being asked to move out of, like Honorable Elachi was saying, to move out from those who are built close to the rivers in Mathare, and many other places have to move up. And people still insist that they want to go back and collect their belongings. In the process, you lose life. It is important that we must plan our cities and our towns to align with the current situations. We should have started planning way back, but it is important now that from here we've learned very serious lessons. All those who are built in riparian, all those who are on waterways must be moved out. It has put to test our infrastructure and look at the bridges that are being washed away. It tells you that now we have to align our programs to make sure that the things that we built and drainage and all these other things are factored in to make sure that we have infrastructure that can last and that can be, when put to test by such floods and adverse weather conditions, at least are able to withstand them. So it is important that as a country, going forward, we plan. I also want to laud the president for coming out and giving out a schedule and plans of what they intend to do, particularly those ones of closing schools, because now we cannot have our children risking with all these floods. Animals have been swept away. There's a lot that needs to be done, and I cannot imagine how the government will be able to compensate in terms of property and lives that have been lost. It is important then for people to heed our weathermen so that they keep off. I watched yesterday what is happening online is scary. I watched a video yesterday, I think in the evening. My Mayu was almost totally impassable. But you still find people on motorbikes trying to test the strength of the water. It is reckless, and people must be extremely cautious and listen to the weatherman. On Friday, my committee and myself were at the coast, and when we were told that there was going to be a cyclone, we decided to close and finish our meeting and head back to Nairobi. I personally actually had to do it because I am the most scared one when it comes to the face of death. And I had to allow everyone to come back to Nairobi. Those are the warnings that we are taking extremely serious. No one should take chance with this weather. Take serious responsibility of yourselves and those that are around you.
So what happened?
So you left others.
What
you
happened?
left Kenyans there.
No,
there.
No. There was a warning that was issued by the Ministry of Interior.
Doesn't matter.
A statement from PS Raymond Omolo saying that the coast will be hit, and everyone who is at the shore of the coast.
He's our chair of defense. Instead of trying to think how people will survive, he will run away.
When it comes to personal life, everyone should take responsibility. Rebecca Inan said, everyone should be responsible. There is no government. You are the government. Take care of your life. So when you are told move, move. All those who are in Mathare. And some, on a very serious note, I saw politicians going to incite people in Mathare on Friday. It is totally wrong, including the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. That was
he never incited.
Unnecessary. People should be moved out. The government should create a buffer zone on all those rivers, actually, and build social housing for all those people, so that people don't live in shanties. People now understand the importance of why the president has insisted on a housing program. It is extremely important. Everyone must be moved out from all those rivers that are busting.
Allow me to say something.
People should take responsibility.
Time is up. Honorable
Let me just say this.
20 seconds.
Baba never incited. I think he just spoke, and he was not in Mathare, he was in Embakasi South.
He's insulting his campaigner.
Sorry,
No.
Sorry.
I don't know whether we still don't respect. Baba, when he speaks, he's not insulting. He's just telling you the way it is. You get it, you'll think he's insulting. That's how he communicates. And he's Baba. And he was just saying, this thing is beyond us. Why can't we say it's a national disaster so that you can get support from other places? But then, after that, it becomes insult. No, he did not insult.
All right.
And he never incited. The only thing we should be telling ourselves in Nairobi, you see, when you're coming to remove people, just send the chiefs earlier to tell them. I know people are stubborn.
Oh, they must.
Like for me, they are in some areas, I tell them, don't even talk to me because I have said it, sang it, you have refused.
All right.
Now you find it.
Honorable Achi, thank you so much. If we continue that line of if Baba insulted or didn't, we may not leave the studio and we need to make time for the next segment.
We never insulted.
Because Honorable Koech is already saying that he insulted the campaigner.
Campaigner.
So it's also interesting. He
never mixed it with that.
It is also interesting that you're telling the chairman that he's the chair of defense.
Yeah, he ran away.
I think it's, I don't know, he chairs the Defense Committee at the National Assembly. He's not in the Kenya Navy, is he?
He can call them. He's their chair. He can call and say, look, make sure this is going to happen. Kenyans should be safe.
All right.
And give a statement when he's there as he leaves. I'm not saying he should stay there.
We don't have time for any more contributions, but I have to thank you for making time for us. Honorable Beatrice Elachi also for making time for us, and Nelson Koech for making time for us. Interesting conversations, and we hope that solutions can be found to some of the challenges highlighted on the show. Thank you all. My name is Sam Gituku. Up next is Matters Sporty Monday. They'll be here to talk about different issues, including the English Premier League, including the goal difference. That may not make a difference, really. Bye for now.